Welcome, friends. Welcome to today's Reconsider It live stream. Best live stream you're gonna see all day. And here on this live stream, you are gonna get a very nice hour of some live looping, vocals only, just live looping with the vocals. We got the foundation of a beat. I'm gonna be building up a beat spontaneously. Who knows what it's gonna sound like? And I'm gonna be talking about what I'm doing on the loopers to make it sound like there's a bass or whatever this other instrument is, whatever you call this. I'm gonna be talking how I make these sounds. A very nice 505 beatmaking stream. Man, you're gonna love it. Right now we are in a warm-up phase. We are getting the blood flowing. We're getting the blood flowing to this foundation of a beat that I made before the stream began. And while we're here in this warm-up phase, my friends, getting the blood flowing, I need to celebrate. I need to celebrate you. Thank you for being here. Whether you are joining us here live in the chat, or you are joining us live but you are not in the chat, or you are joining us after the stream watching on replay, however it is that you are joining us, thank you for being here. If you are new to the Reconsider It live streams, welcome. You made the right decision joining us. We want you here. And I'm going to celebrate you at this time in this way. I've got my drink. I am going to count up to 3. I'm going to clink the screen. You are invited to join the rest of us as we cheers along and celebrate our togetherfulness on 1. All right, it has begun. The count up is underway. It's a very exciting experience. 2. Yes. You know exactly where this is going and when. 3. Clink. Cheers, my friends. Man, that is good. That is like a full force good, just pure goodness. Please like this video. Please subscribe. Friends, we are quite warmed up at this time. This is good. Yeah, that's good. I am feeling comfortable and relaxed and prepared for whatever may come next. Since this is a 505 beat making stream, that means I'm going to be talking a lot about what I'm doing on the loopers, the technical details, Like, what did I do to make this sound like some drums here? Even though it's really just me going like, it's like that kind of, it's nothing all that spectacular a cappella. But the loopers make it sound like I got a, drum machine or something. So how'd I do it? Let's dive right into it, my friends. For my regulars, much of this will sound familiar. We do the 2-looper split. That part is visually clear. You can see there's 2 loopers. The bottom looper is the first model, the Mark I of the RC505 from Boss. The Boss RC505 Mark I, the first model. That's the bottom. I use this one only for percussion or vocals or other things that don't need to be tuned to a key. When we get to the Mark II, I'll talk about how that one allows you to tune to a key, so I use that for anything melodic or the bass or anything. And here on the lower looper, the Mark I, how did I make this kick noise? Well, this one is built from 2 input effects stacked, and it's an unusual one for me. I usually don't do this, but it's a vocal distortion as the core sound, and I'm just going simple. It's like a throat, I don't know what you call it. Professional beatboxers have names for all these things. That's all I'm doing. But I pass it through the vocal distortion, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a distortion module. So it gives it all that graininess that you hear. But then that's passed into a lo-fi, which I usually don't pair those. I think there's 2 of my palettes across my 36 different palettes I've created. Palettes of sound effects. So that's it. This one is a vocal distortion passed into the lo-fi. The lo-fi is what makes it like really contained and muted. So that's the kick. The hi-hat shaker thing is the same vocal distortion from the kick, but passed into a reverb. You can hear a lot of the reverb in this one. Then this like clap thing. That's made from the same vocal distortion and reverb as the hi-hat shaker. So that's it for the percussion. It's pretty simple. I only use 2 input effects. You can stack up to 3 on the Mark I. I know I'm throwing a bunch of numbers all over the place. I use 2, but you can have 3 on the Mark I. Vocal distortion passed into lo-fi for the kick. And then same vocal distortion passed into a reverb for the other parts of the drums. You may have heard I had some of this going on earlier. This like delay sort of thing. It's an output effect. You can do that up here. By the way, I forgot to mention, this stream is helpful if you're looking for whether you want to get one of these loopers. You should feel very empowered because despite the fact that they have mad buttons and blinking lights and all sorts of settings and possibilities, despite all that, you should feel very confident because I'm showing you some simple ways to get a beat up and going, and you'll discover a lot more. So you should feel confident if you're wondering about getting one of these. Anyway, output effects, you could do that on the side over here. On the top, we got the Mark II. This is the one that I use for anything that's has some kind of melodic element to it. So my bass line is going through there. And the bass line is not me doing some awesome, throat singing a cappella. It's just me going like, like really bad, not at all good singing. But when I pass it through the effects in the looper, it can make it sound like a bass line. So how did I do that? How am I singing terribly, but it at least sounds tolerable as a bass line? Here's the secret, friends. On the Mark II, you can stack 4 input effects, as you can see in the top left over here. So for this one, this bass line, this is built out of the following 4 effects in this order. The order matters. My regulars know that when I build a bass line, I use the guitar to bass input effect as my primary core of the voice of the instrument that I'm building. And guitar to bass is what it sounds like if you were to plug in a guitar instead of the way I plug in my microphone. You were to plug in a guitar and you start playing it, but you pass it through a guitar to bass input, it's going to sound like a bass guitar. So it's exactly what it is. So all I'm doing is doing my terrible singing, but now you can hear the bass line. It sounds like some kind of bass instrument. Wonderful. That's from this guitar to bass. But that's only the first input effect. That is then passed into an electric. The electric is the tuner. And by the way, for my musician friends who like to jam along, this one is tuned to the key of E flat. Beats per minute is 135.1. So we got guitar to bass, passed into electric, and then that is passed into a distortion, which is unusual. I normally don't do that for the bass. You can hear the bass has a little bit of a growl to it. It's not very pronounced or prominent, but there's a little bit of a growl in the bass there. That comes from the distortion. And the distortion, this is one of the ways that the Mark II is so much greater than the Mark I. Speaking of greatness, we now in the chat have the man himself, which is a glorious, glorious, emphatic dope enhancement to the vibe of the place. So I was saying that the Mark II has got a lot of ways that it's like such a huge upgrade from the Mark I. As I always say, it's like it was 5 upgrades at once. There's so many awesome enhancements going up to the Mark II. And one of them is that the Mark II has all the same features the Mark I does, but just mad more features, as I say. One of them is as follows. I mentioned earlier how these drums here are built out of what's called a vocal distortion. And that's what makes the kick sound all like edgy and grainy. That's the vocal distortion doing that graininess. So that distortion is still up here in the top looper, but now in the top looper it has a whole bunch of subtypes. So there's like 5 or 6 maybe. I'm not sure about exactly how many, but it's something like that. There's 5 or 6 different types of distortions. This bass line I passed into a distortion of a fuzz type. This again is for those of you needing the details, the technical details of the Mark II. This is the distortion with fuzz type on the Mark II on the top. And then all that's passed into a sustainer, which is essentially a loudness control. So once again, this bass instrument here, guitar to bass, electric, which is the tuner, passed into a distortion of type fuzz, and then all that passed into a sustainer, depending on how loud you'd be singing into this. And you probably have better singing than I do. Now we have this other instrument, whatever this is. Some kind of like, I don't know. You ever seen people play a saw? Did you know that's a real instrument? Where they play a saw, where they like wobble it, or a metal saw is what I mean. One of those like long, thin metal saws. Some people play that as an instrument. It sounds not unlike that to my ears. I see right now there's a lot of chat for me to get caught up on, so I gotta get caught up on the chat. What's happening in the chat? One of the best things ever that's happening in the chat is that has joined us. But I see there's a lot happening from Warheart. Let me see here. Warheart says, "Hey, since we're talking about the bass, we were just describing how I got this bass sound to happen with technical details." Warheart says, "Talking about that bass, I just picked up a dirt cheap bass guitar." Nice. Warheart says, "It's good that Boss/Roland listens to the customer base." Man, if they ever were to make a Mark III, I'd say like, here's some more things I want. Here's some more features. I don't have the list prepared off the top of my head. I've seen other people. There are forums of people who talk about this stuff, like Mark II users, and they always have a thread that's like, hey, if there was a Mark III, what would you want? And those are long. And one of the ones that I've seen multiple people request that probably wouldn't have occurred to me, but now that they say it, I'm like, oh, totally, yeah. Is to have, like, in the current models, both of them, there is a couple of outputs that I have, a couple of panned outputs and phones. I have 3 panned outputs and a headphones jack. But that's for everything happening on the looper. And the request that I've seen many people say is, let me get output effects for each layer. Or I'm sorry, not output effects. Just like an output jack for each layer. Because I want to be able to mix it on my own later. I would say that's one of the biggest drawbacks. Or maybe not drawbacks, but limitations. That's one of the biggest limitations that I run into with these loopers, is that if I do want to record something, which, by the way, I recently did. You know, I've done a number of songs recently that I've been releasing based on the beats I make on live streams. And I just released a new one recently that's really good. You know, I've been getting a lot of positive feedback. I really like it a lot. For me, it's a very significant, meaningful song lyrically. It's a rap. So speaking of, you know, this topic of a limitation of the loopers, when I need to record a song, like a performance of a song, I'm going to go and, you know, do like I'm doing here on live streams, where I'm like, oh yeah, look how dope this is. I turn this on and off and I put this output effect on and all that. When I'm doing that kind of stuff and I'm exporting a song, I get one take for everything. Not just like what comes in and out, but also the volume levels. Sometimes it isn't until I save the song off and, you know, I just have one WAV file of everything. At that point, I discover like, oh wow, you know, this the hi-hat layer is just way too loud. Now I have to go redo the whole performance, and I better get every single thing right. And by the way, my regulars know that the volume fader on this lower looper here has kind of had it, so it doesn't always go up and down. Like, oh, it was still going for a second there. So all that's got to go right. So I agree with those who request in a Mark III version, which is, I don't know if that's ever going to come out. We're just, you know, talking. It would be great to have output for each layer so that I can mix it later. I can get the volume levels later. I don't have to perfect that right now. I do have the ability to export the audio as WAV files, which I generally do. I save most of my beats. There was one live stream recently where I didn't bother saving it, but I usually save them. There was another live stream recently where I saved the top looper, but I accidentally didn't save the bottom looper. So I was like, ah, no. And it was a really good one too. It was one of the ones recently that I was on the more fond side of. I'm trying to remember if there's a coherent thread of thought that I was trying to get back to, or have I like backed out of the stack of recursion yet? Still getting caught up on the chat. I really got to do a new studio setup. I've had this studio set up for a number of months. It has a lot of strong points. It's working really well in a lot of ways, but there's a few things I need to resolve. One of them is that I have to turn to look at the chat. I have to look at the chat. I would rather have the chat, like, you know, maybe here so that it's right in front of my face, and I'm still looking in one direction for all of it. That'd be good. So I'll think about that as one of my variables in a studio rearrangement. In any case, getting caught up on the chat, I see that Studio 8FX is with us, which is awesome. Warheart says that getting the individual outputs for each layer makes a lot of sense, especially for studio work. Exactly. So I like your distinction of studio, because if I'm going to a show and I'm just going to play some show somewhere, that I'm not expecting to have perfect mixing on. You know, I'm just, if it sounds okay in my headphones in the moment, that's good enough, and you know, all of this. But not when I'm making a new song. Oh, that's what I needed to get back to. Not when I'm making a new song that I want to like make a, you know, finished product recording of. I need to be able to mix for that. But the new song that I just released, that you should go check out if you haven't already, it's a rap track. Man, it's so dope. I've been listening to it a lot, like on loop. I listen to it for multiple days now. It helps me a lot, moving through some difficult things. It helps me, you know, keep my head straight. It helps me have a positive outlook. And I've been getting a lot of positive feedback for this song, so I encourage you to check it out. The song is called Role-Playing Catharsis. It's a rap track. People are liking it. I like it. Probes asks the question, which 505 do I have? Is it the Mark I or the Mark II? The bottom looper, this one down here, the bottom looper, that's a Mark I. The top looper is a Mark II. And I'm having some hardware problems on my Mark I from use. You know, I think from relatively normal use. It's about 8 years old, maybe more. So I'm gonna need to replace the bottom looper, probably at some point in the next however many months. At some, you know, less than a year from now, I'm gonna need to replace the bottom looper. And when I do, all you can get nowadays is a Mark II. So I'm gonna get a Mark II. I'm gonna get a second Mark II. Some point in the next year or so, before next summer. It's not even, it's probably less than 6 months. My bottom looper is giving me a hard time. There's more going wrong with it than just the volume slider here. All these buttons down here, this green one on the left, and also the second one here, those both stick. They stay stuck down. Just from me hitting them for 8+ years. And I've discovered a couple times that it makes it difficult to record something, because if it's stuck down and I try to press the green button here to record something, then sometimes it's already depressed down and it doesn't register that I'm trying to record something. So I have to like manually pick it up and move it, which is probably difficult for you to see on camera. I have to like pull it from the sides and like try to move the button out. And the other day I discovered, this is probably like a week or two ago, the other day I discovered that there was a new technical issue, which is that seemingly related to the issue of these buttons remaining stuck down and depressed when they are pressed. It seemed that like probably this one on the left, probably this got stuck down like that and I didn't notice it, but then it like automatically triggered recording over here on the second one. So there's probably some kind of piece of hardware that spans between these, and that got somehow, I don't know, depressed in a certain way, and the second one got triggered. So that was not cool. That's a much more significant functional problem than even the volume slider, which is a pretty big functional problem. So I don't know what's going to happen in terms of, you know, maybe I'll go the next 12 months and there will be no problems at all and it'll be perfectly functional, and even these couple of problems that I bring up like somehow magically heal themselves in a way that seems impossible. Even if that happens, it would still be dope just to have another Mark II, because there's so many features. There's so many additional things that I know already I could do with my percussion if I had another Mark II, because it has so many other features. And so I probably, you know, I expect that this will continue to show hardware challenges and that I'll just replace it, you know, at some point, as I say, probably in the next year, maybe less than a year. You know, like less than half a year, I'm saying. I don't know, though. Probes has some more comments / questions. By the way, that's good. These 505 beatmaking streams are meant to be a response to a demand. Multiple people have asked me to do these streams to say like, hey, just teach us about the loopers, just whatever you're doing while you do it. So that's why you're watching this 505 beatmaking stream right now. So what I mean to say is, whatever 505 related questions you have, you should feel free to like really let me know those. This is exactly the right time and place. And if you're watching this after the live stream, just let me know in the comments on this or any other 505 stream I do, the 505 beatmaking stream. Let me know what you want to know about the 505. So anyway, Probes is asking a technical question about the 505, and this is exactly the right time and place to do that. He says, do you use MIDI? The answer is twofold yes. One of them goes from the lower looper, the Mark I, its MIDI output into the Mark II on top. And that's because the bottom looper is where I do the drum beat. So that sets the beats per minute. And the MIDI, I basically am just using it for a beats per minute sync. And that's fine, there's no issues. But I also have a MIDI coming out of the Mark II and going down into my Hydrosynth. Unfortunately, that seems not to work very well. Which is a bummer. I want to use it for like doing arpeggios, or whatever other, you know, like delays or slices, whatever effects I might put in the Hydrosynth. I totally would want that in the same tempo as the beat I'm making in the loopers. It is entirely plausible that there's some setting somewhere that I haven't flipped in the right direction. So I'm not ruling that out. I haven't gone and checked, but I totally should. Especially because I could just chat GPT it. I say, hey man, how do I, what are the settings that need to be correct for this to work? I think I did have to tweak some settings to do the MIDI sync between the two loopers. I really hope that if I get a Mark II, another Mark II, I hope that it MIDI syncs. I've never tried to sync two Mark IIs before. So that's my very drawn-out, anti-concise response to Probes' question. Do I use MIDI? Yes. Seems to work fine with the tempo MIDI sync coming in from the Mark I, but there's an issue of some kind where it doesn't seem to sync right when the MIDI comes out of the Mark II looper and into my Hydrosynth. Probe says, yeah, that's what I was thinking of too, doing ARPs. Or sequences. Yeah. Exactly, right. I believe that, I mean, I guess I shouldn't confirm one of that. I was gonna say, I think that the Hydrosynth does have a sequencer, but I'm actually not sure. So, believe it does, though. Probe says dust is a real fader killer. Yeah, I usually keep these covered. I like that the Hydrosynth came with a cover. I wish the loopers did. That would be a good thing for the Mark III. Or they could just start shipping that with the Mark II. Let me get a cover for it. That would be ideal. That's why the bottom one has so much wear and tear. Because it didn't have a cover. I didn't really have good... I mean, I guess this is probably worth showing on camera. Nowadays, if I play a show, I bring it in this hardware here, this like huge case. It's waterproof and everything. It's got this customizable foam interior. So difficult to get a good angle. Sorry about that. Anyway, you can see what it is. So nowadays, if I play a show, this is what I take my loopers in. I have another one for the other looper. But I didn't always have that. I played shows for probably like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years at least, where I wrapped it in some kind of cloth, like a towel or sweatshirt or something, and I put it in my backpack. So this has actually stood up pretty well, considering that's how I transported it for, as I say, probably 2 or 3 years of playing shows. I used to play shows, you know, anywhere from once every other month to a couple times a month. But now, with this 505 Beatmaking stream in particular, we do have this additional element that I have yet to describe, this other instrument here that I've built. My regulars know that this is all panned out as well. My center is my bass, that's center panning. But we've also got these ones that are a little left and a little right. They are also a little left and a little right panned. Same instrument, but just harmonizing with itself. How did I build this one? This one is also just me like, ooh, not good singing. I'm literally doing something like, ooh, but the looper makes it sound like this. So how did I do that? Well, this one is built as follows. The following 4 input effects were used for this instrument here. First one. The core essence of the sound of the instrument is the synth. The synth, which I usually use in the way you might use a horn, trumpet or something. There was a lot of reverb on that. I just took that off. Now you're hearing the actual tone. So it's built out of a synth, which in my mind is kind of like a horn of some sort. Oh, by the way, I should have said this earlier. My regulars know this. You don't need me to tell you this. But if you're new to the Reconsider It live streams, these are always best experienced with headphones on, like the kind of headphones that I have on right now. These like big noise canceling headphones that really give you an immersive experience. This is meant for that kind of listening. In any case, these instruments that are flanking the bass, we got the synth, like a horn. Then it's passed into the electric, the tuner. Cool, familiar territory. Then I passed it into a tremolo. And it looks like I have it at a tremolo going at 16th notes. There's various tunings you could do there. Up to 32nd notes, I believe, is the smallest it goes. But then you can also do per milliseconds if you prefer. So it's got a lot of cool settings. And again, if you're wondering about getting one of these, you should feel very empowered. There's a lot of buttons, but it's very manageable, and these streams can help you to get a starting set of a pretty thorough palette as I've created them, and then you make it sound better because you'll do much better than I did. In any case, these instruments here, or this one instrument, synth, electric, tremolo, and then it's passed into distortion. Also rare. This was a very distortion-heavy palette, I suppose. This is the same distortion as the bass, so the distortion of type fuzz. And you could clearly hear the distortion on this one, which makes a lot of sense because distortion was the final effect that was applied. The order does matter here. So once again, this instrument is made out of synth, electric, tremolo, distortion. Now we gotta add something else. Speaking of adding something else, I see Probe says, I'll make a cover for my gear using some old cardboard boxes. Nice. I have some of those from... I should see if they're in good condition at all. I have some of those from when I moved to my current residence, which was not like 6 months ago. So sometimes people are like, wait, why do you have these cardboard boxes? I could probably use some of those. But I do keep these covered generally, and my mixer as well, which is off camera right now. At this point, my friends, you have heard about everything that I have built up. I also had some reverb up top. This is another way that the Mark II is just so much more advanced than the Mark I. It has multiple kinds of reverb. The Mark I on the bottom has exactly one reverb and that's it. And it's good. It's a good reverb, but it's just one type of reverb. Top looper, multiple kinds of reverb. Right now, the reverb that I'm putting on this instrument, here I take it off. So that's this reverb. This is a reverse reverb, which is awesome. You give me anything reversed. There's a few things in music that it's like, if you give me some of this, I'm going to be very happy. Reverse stuff, I'll be very happy about that. In fact, let's see what it sounds like for these tracks to be reversed. I have just reversed them. How's that? I'm crossing my arms. I mean, it's not too different from what it was before. I'm gonna change it back to normal, but I'm glad I tried that. I like playing with that kind of stuff sometimes. I don't do reverse enough. I really should do it a lot more. Like, wait, hold on, I'll do this on the drums. Watch how much awesomer this becomes when I do this. See? So much doper by just that one little simple reverse thing. As you saw me do, all I did was just... I did... That's all I did. With some reverb on it. That was a vocal distortion with some reverb. And as I... Like here, I could turn reverb off. Notice that I turn the reverb up as the recording goes on. And then when I reverse it, that makes it a nice, you know, nice. So that's instantly like 100 times doper. The only problem with that is you can't leave it that on for the whole time. There might be other ways you can use reverse effects for the whole time, but not that particular one. That's an on and off occasionally. Oh, you forgot I had this? Hey, that's what that's for. In the meanwhile, my friends, the top looper lets you save 4 instruments in a palette. You've heard 2 of the instruments already. We got the bass line here. We got this other one that I just described to you, which again is made out of a synth, electric, tremolo, distortion of the type fuzz. So you heard this one, you got the bass, but I can have 4 instruments, and you'd better believe that I do. I do have 4 instruments. So now the question is, which of these will I be using next? I think it's going to be this one here. So this one that this new instrument that you haven't heard yet on this stream is built as follows. Actually, before I describe this, I'm going to see, Probes has a little bit more in the chat. I'm going to see what's happening over here. Probe says, regarding having your gear have some kind of cover to it, I'm surprised that manufacturers don't provide specs for you to just like make a cover. I would agree with that. That would be a good thing to just like, as a standard, any hardware vendors would tell you how to make any kind of gear, really. You want a cover, you want a stand. It might be difficult to see in this, yeah, it's hard to see in the camera angle here. But my 2 loopers are in fact, on a tray that I had custom 3D printed. It fits them like almost perfectly. I would say it actually does fit them perfectly because they're not like stuck in there. They're easy to take out. I shared the specs for these on a forum for 505 users, and people were like, thank you. It's a very functional shelf. There's a guy I work with who is into 3D printing, and he said he would do this. And I had him do it. And he did an absolutely fantastic job with it. If I could find those specs, maybe I should post them in my Discord. If you're a Discord user, you should friend me, and I'll invite you to my Discord. Naturally, I share all of my music stuff there. We have some other threads. We have a mental health thread. Various things going on in my Discord. It's not very big. I think there's only maybe like 12 or 13 people in it right now, actually. It's pretty small. But if you're down with that kind of thing, all right. So this new instrument that I'm going to bring in, it's going to be built out of the following. Synth, once again, that same horn, but it's probably going to sound really different from these. I'm not sure exactly how this one's going to sound, but different from these. This new one, though, that I'm going to use, synth, electric, the tuner, another tremolo. We can assume safely that it is the... Oh, it is not. This tremolo is a half note. Okay. And then all that's passed into a reverse delay. Synth, electric, tremolo, reverse delay. I'm going to go off of the speaking mic, and I'm going to start using this instrument. And then when I'm done with that, I'm going to come back and remind you what it was built of and all that. Let's do it. So we've got this new instrument here that I added in. This one, once again, this was the new one. It's built out of the synth, electric, tremolo, reverse delay. You can hear some reverse delay in here. Nice. It's really cool being able to tune and adjust certain things dynamically. If you listen carefully to this layer, you'll hear that there's different amounts of delay going on. That's me using this button up here, or I guess this dial, whatever you'd call this. That's turning the delay on and off, or like, you know, a fader of it. A lot of cool features on both the 505s. Pretty good. I love this reverse thing. It's easy to overdo that. You know what? You know what? This world needs a hero. Right now, this world needs a hero, says. Digging the tremolo. Add some nice movement. You know what I haven't tried yet? Let's see how this. Oh man, how are we gonna like this one? Not too much. Might be a little too much. That's putting a slicer on top of everything. Ah, I see what I did. Not bad. I wasn't expecting it. But it's got a vibe. some more chats for me to get caught up on here. One of the most optimistic elements of the chat right now is that the crazy woman is here, which is really awesome. It's just a very good thing. Probe says, I like these breathy sounds. Do you mean these? Is this what you're talking about? Love those breathy sounds and the snake charmer pipe. Oh, this is the snake charmer pipe? I'm a big fan of that description. The snake charmer pipe. Oh wait, I should have left that on. Probe says, yeah, that was what I was talking about. Now the best part of this beat right now, things being pretty big and resonant. We got this huge like wall of sound going on. We need to add some more reverb, I think. Not enough reverb. Now that would have been a funny SNL skit. Your man comes through with like a cowbell. More cowbell. I think it would have been more hilarious if it was, we need more reverb on that. But that might just be me. And I guess putting more and more cowbell is more ridiculous than putting more of a reverb. So I guess I don't try to claim that I'm better at comedy than SNL writers who do it professionally for years. I'm not going to claim I know humor better than they do. So I'll let them do the cowbell. But we do need to have more reverb on it. There we go. There you go. Now we're talking. Yeah. There we go. More reverb. Yep. More delay. It's good. Right. Yeah. Okay. It's good. Yeah. Now we're talking. This is what you wanted to listen to. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna turn that down. More reverb. By the way, welcome again to our new listeners. This particular stream is a little more silly than usual, but maybe we need some silliness. Crazy Wabbit says that was getting really hot with all that reverb. I apologize if the volume was a little too loud and you're wearing the awesome headphones that I had recommended like a half hour ago. It did get a bit loud, so I apologize about that if I hurt your ears. Crazy Wabbit says, silly is life. I approve. Also, no complaint, says Wabbit, about all that reverb getting hot. It had to go red. You know, I should have looked at the thing on the mixer and see if it was getting in the red over there. Wabbit says, I love it. I approve of all that. Zero complaints. Probes agrees that silliness is underrated. Hey, are we fans of Monty Python here? Can I put that out there? I mean, the kings of silliness. Do we have any Monty Python skit favorites or one of their, something from one of their movies? I'm still getting caught up on the chat, by the way. There's some that I missed. Probe says, I like the delays on the percussion. Yeah, this one worked out pretty well. I'm not crazy about this one, though. I think this doesn't work right. This clap here. That doesn't echo right with the rest of the rhythms. I'm not going to change it. I'm going to let that be an interesting artifact of what delay can sometimes do. Oh, you know what I didn't do at all? love that. I love that effect. That's like the dopest effect in the whole. That might be my favorite effect on Looper. It's very sensitive to getting the timing right, and this beat it works with. Oh, I love it. I love it. It's the dopest. It's the dopest. That one is called Beat Repeat. I'm still getting caught up on the chat. Sounds like we do have some Monty Python fans. Ministry of Silly Walks. All right, I'm with it. I'm with it. Probe said the same thing. Peter Cook and Dudley Moore. I'm not familiar with that one by name. I might have seen it, but I just don't know the name of it. Oh man, how many? What was it? Did they do that one with the dead bird? Or, you know, on the battlefield, taking away the guy who's still alive. He's like, I'm not dead. He's like, no, 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 you're dead. And they're taking him off. He's like, no, 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 I'm alive. Oh, boy. The movies are good. There's some good content in the movies. Some nice skits spliced through. I think Monty Python contributed a good net positive to just the collective creative awareness of humanity. It's good stuff. Probe says, search for Derek and Clive. Goodies. Goody, goody, yum, yum. Friends, we have still got one remaining instrument to use on this top looper here, and also one remaining loop. By the way, once again, another plug. Another plug for my most recent rap track you should go check out, called Role Playing Catharsis. Pretty dope rap. Some good personal stuff. Processing things. Working through things. Feeling things. Role-playing catharsis. Check it out. I see right now that the breathalyzer is now with us. As one of the things that the breathalyzer says, it says, "Hey, guess what?" It's like, "Hey, guess what? I used to play in a band called Pope John and the Sex Probes." Okay. Unfortunately, no audio. Okay. All right, friends. We have, as I say, there's one more instrument, one more layer, and we will have a nice completed beat for this 505 beatmaking stream. And this final instrument here that you haven't yet heard on this stream, it's built as follows. I'm going to describe it, and then I'm going to go use it, and then I'll come back and talk about it again. So here's what this final instrument is made of. It's made of a preamp. A preamp is exactly what it, well, you might guess what it is based on what it sounds like. A preamp is like an amp. You take your electric guitar and you plug your electric guitar into your like grungy amp and go play your punk show. You know, it's like an amp. So it has a, you know, like a dirty feel to it, you know, like an amp. So the preamp, that's what it's built out of. And that preamp, bringing the sort of like amplified dirt passed into the electric tuner. And once again, for my friends who like to jam along, this beat today, this is built on an E flat, or I'm sorry, tuned to the key of E flat. Beats per minute is 135.1. Next instrument, my friends, preamp, electric, the tuner, tape echo. So it's going to have an echo. Oh, and then that's passed into a delay. So we're going to have two different layers. They can't be the same, are they? Oh, look at that. So they're both tuned to different milliseconds. So we'll see how those go. Normally I don't do milliseconds. Normally I do it in some kind of like 8th note, 16th note, you know, dotted 8th note. But this is milliseconds. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I see Wabbit has a technical question at this time. Wabbit says, does the amp need to sign a preamp to prevent taking half the stuff? Yes. That's, yes, 100%. Correct. Breathalyzer says, in my band, John was the leader and a speech communication professor. I always, I mean, and I have done this. I was going to say, I always wanted to be like the lyricist frontman for a band. And I did that in my group Conscious Object. That was cool. But because I do have that skill set. I'm not just able to write raps. I can perform them. I know how to do interaction with the audience. I know how to work a crowd. I professionally do that. I coach people on how to do that. I'm not just skilled at it, I'm like meta skilled at it. I can talk about the skill and train others on it. So I continue to think that would be cool to do someday, if there's some kind of like band arrangement that I would get in. I've done collaborations and such, but I mean, like, I'd like to do like a proper band and do 2 or 3 albums, you know, that kind of thing. I have released albums. I'm saying I would like to do it again. And what I'd really like is to have a live show again, even though there's not really demand for live music like there used to be. Live music was the thing in the 90s, and that's when I was a teenager. So that's when I locked into the idea of being a musician and being a performer and such, because I was like, oh, this is what's cool, right? And my brain now, 30 years later, has not yet caught up to the fact that it's like, that was 30 years ago. People aren't looking for live music these days. But I still think it'd be cool to do a live show with a band. I'm not necessarily saying like a rock band. Here's my, drum set, electric guitar, electric bass, plus singer. I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm not opposed to that either. But, somebody's doing, has a nice hardware rig, a couple synthesizers. Somebody else has a, electric violin. Somebody else, that kind of stuff. Like, I'd be down with some kind of really eclectic group like that. And then maybe I would be the rapper, because I can rap and I'm not bad at it. If you'd like a demonstration of my rap, check out my most recent track, Role-Playing Catharsis. Been getting a lot of positive feedback. You're gonna like that one. Breathalyzer says, I would like to perform at a synth convention. You should totally record it or stream it if you do, first of all. But that comes down to, it's the kind of place where there's gonna be people for that. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, you might be able to get the occasional really good gig, once in a while. The last time I played a show was last year. It was not bad. I made a couple of mistakes. That was the show. Oh, man. Listen to how I feel so stupid about this. Here's what happened. I think I was the final performer of the night before we did like this massive collaboration with everybody who performed. Everybody from the whole night got on stage and we all did this huge, completely impromptu collaboration. Most of us never even seen each other before. Anyway, before that, I think I was the final performer. And because I was the final performer, I had been in the venue hanging out, listening to the other shows, doing whatever I was doing. And because I was there at the venue listening to the previous acts, I had my earplugs in. And my earplugs did a good job of keeping out all the loud, while I could still mostly hear stuff. So if somebody was talking to me, I could still mostly hear what they were saying. I might have to like lean in if there was still music going on, but I could still pretty much hear what they're saying. So anyway, when the previous act finished, the final one before me, I was like, all right, I gotta get ready. I jump on stage, I'm doing all my everything, I'm powering stuff on, I'm trying to do a sound check. And I put on my headphones and I'm doing a sound check. And the people in the venue were like, all right, yeah, sounds good. And I'm like, what? I don't know what's going on. Because it sounds so like dull and muted. I don't know why this is so quiet. What's going wrong? I like rebooted the loopers. I tried plugging and unplugging things. Why is this so like, what's going wrong here? I spent like 14 minutes delaying my set, trying to figure out why everything sounded so quiet. Why did everything sound so quiet? What was going on? Did you eventually figure it out? Why was everything so quiet? I still had my earplugs in. I still had my earplugs in under my headphones. And I suddenly realized it. I was like, oh my, I took them out, everything was fine. 14 minutes, maybe it was 12. 12 to 14 minutes. There were some people who left the venue because of that. I feel so stupid. Like, that was such a, like, amateur move. But it happened. Ta-da! Let me go back to talking about how I'm a professional presenter and all this. To be fair, you don't wear earplugs and headphones while you do loopers and stuff as a, you know, professional presenter. So that doesn't come up in that context. I like when there's enough chat that I need to take the mic out of the stand just so I can come over here and look and read it more easily. Breathalyzer's got a lot of stuff related to the idea of performance. He says, I don't know how many venues are going to get some kind of improvisational synth show and get a lot of people to come out. Yeah. You'd have to be like in a city where that city is known for its synthesizer shows. It would have to be something like that. And then there'd probably be a couple venues that you could play at and all of this. And that's one of the problems with being a musician, especially if you're a very niche musician, like I am. I do this looper stuff, you know. There's people who like it, but I don't know if in this city there's enough demand. P.S. There's not really. There used to be, you know, years ago when I used to play. I played a good 3 or 4 years with the looper stuff. But these days, I have to go elsewhere to play a show. That's mostly a networking thing, though. If I knew more people, like when I go play an open mic, people like, I'm just gonna say it. People like shit their pants. They can't. When I play a show, people generally run up to me. Run. Like when I do my final song and I'm like, all right, friends, thanks for being here. My name is Reconsider It. And then I'm done. And they run. People run to the stage. They're so excited. It happens every show. But for some reason, the like venue owner or promoter doesn't notice that part. All they notice is ticket sales. And if it isn't like, you know, can you bring 50 people to the venue, then, you know, that's not meeting their minimum quota. That's a lot, I think. To consistently every show get 50 people to the venue, that's a lot. That's a very big ask of just like a, you know, local/regional level artist. If I do a show occasionally so that people like think about it and look forward to it, as opposed to doing a show every month. If I only do a show like once a year or something, I think I could reliably get, I think 10 to 15 people wouldn't be too big of a stretch. I might be able to do more than that. Because a lot of people will bring like their spouse or their partner or a couple friends. So I can think of, you know, 10 to 15 people who probably would come, but they might bring more people with them. Suddenly it's a 30-person show. Just came there for me. But I can't like guarantee that every single month. That's if it's a rare thing that they have to, you know, savor when it's available. But, you know, that's why being in a band is helpful. Because if you're in a band, now suddenly you have 4 people who bring 10 people each. Now you have a different situation. Breathalyzer says if he does play that synth improv festival or whatever it was, convention, then it'll be recorded. Okay, that's cool. Warheart says the prophet is not recognized in his hometown. Yeah, that's how that works. Most people don't understand, like, that is the way of the order of the universe. It's that the person who has something to say is generally in a place where they don't hear it. And that's the cosmic challenge. It's to find your way out of that. And that's why if you get you can tell the difference between a great artist who really clawed his way up through the cosmos all through his life and made it to the level of being, my favorite artist of all time, which is Maynard from Tool. Like this very, very large scale, hugely, hauntingly famous. There are people who have that same level of talent, but there's extra. I mean, are we going to get into these awesome conversations? This is a conversation for a Tinkering in the Studio stream, but reality is made up of more than just physical matter. There are extra dimensions to reality, including dimensions that have a social component. Like the way you navigate this particular dimension is through social relationships, and then additional dimensions built on top of that. You still need to have those social relationships. So, for example, I was saying earlier, I'm not really well connected anymore. The pandemic really destroyed my network of venue owners. Venues in particular that I used to play at all closed down. So everything kind of ended for me during the pandemic in terms of playing live shows locally. But in principle, in speaking in absolute terms, there's some way for me to sort of grow beyond, in a spiritual manner, grow beyond the seeming desert that I live in, and have some capacity to nonetheless shine beyond all of that and be in some sense like a rising sun. And that's what I was talking about earlier when I say you could tell a really great artist has that rising sun quality. Like they became a star, like the idea of being a star, a rock star or whatever kind of star, movie star, being a star, like a sun, a star. They rose up out of hopelessness and darkness and not able to just, live an ordinary life. They had to do this art thing. And these people tend to have a indomitable personality in all this. But many, 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 many artists have that same level of talent or skill, but just haven't navigated those extra dimensional aspects of reality. So they're stuck in a desert with something to say, but no one who hears it. That's the cosmic profile of an artist. And it's rare to see an artist who becomes the sun that they have the potential to become. It's awesome when it happens, but what is it, 1% of artists or less? Probably way less, actually, now that I'm saying it out loud. Way less. It's not like 1 out of 100 artists becomes this huge legendary star. There's only enough room for a few legendary stars at a time. The human collective awareness can only keep track of a few dozen people. I don't know if you noticed that. Did you notice that at any given time, the higher you go in the echelons of human social interactions, international interactions, at any given time, there's only a few dozen people on the stage. Did you notice that? When you go lower in the echelons, that's when you start getting different factions, and each faction can have many different people. But on the highest levels, there's always only a few people at a time. That's because that's all we can keep track of. I've really gone off topic here. We're supposed to be talking about some 505 loopers. I lost track of the fact that we're on a 505 beatmaking stream. This is the kind of stuff that we go into in a Tinkering in the Studio stream. I'm happy to do it because I love to talk about all sorts of stuff, including extra dimensional realities that you need to navigate in order to transform into a star. Happy to have that kind of discussion. very happy to see that in the chat there's a lot of like mystical and religious type stuff happening. Perfect. That's awesome. This is exactly, you are in the right place, my friends. This is the audience that belongs here. Friends, we really got to get to this other instrument. There's one more instrument remaining and one more loop to put it in. So let's see. Oh, this is the one with the 2 layers. Okay, yeah. So this one's built out of a preamp, the amp we talked about earlier, electric, the tuner, and then it's fed into a tape echo and then a delay. So I'm going to go off the speaking mic. I'm going to go onto this instrument mic, see what it sounds like, play around with it a little bit, then make a loop out of it. It's going to be a really good time. You buckle your seatbelts. You picked exactly the right place to be at exactly the right time. So this is our new instrument here. I like this. It has a nice clean sound to it. The preamp often does that. The preamp is a good choice if you're doing 505 here, 505 Mark II. The preamp is a good choice for a nice clean sound, and then you embellish it however. So this one, once again, preamp, electric, tape echo 2 to be precise, because there's 2 of them. Tape echo 2, and then a delay. 2 different levels of the delay there. Got echo and a delay on top of the echo. Plus I have this reverse reverb on. Part of my yawning. That's me not getting a lot of sleep due to all this stuff that I'm dealing with recently, which my most recent song is helping me with. Again, you should check out my most recent song, Role-Playing Catharsis. It's a nice rap. You're going to like it a lot. It's helping me through some challenging things that I'm processing. Friends, thank you for being here today. Thank you for being here for this 505 beatmaking stream. You got all the different pieces of everything. You now know what's the secret sauce. You know how the sausage is made. How did I make this beat? All I'm doing is some not terribly impressive acapella beatboxing and singing, and yet the loopers make it sound all nice. Well, now you know. Very helpful if you're thinking about getting one of these loopers. You should feel very confident about that. They have a lot of buttons. There's a lot you can do, but these 505 beatmaking streams will help give you a starting point to make it more manageable. And then you'll figure out a bunch of cool stuff and do things way better than I did. I hope to see you again in the next live stream. We have a delicious selection of live streams available. Today we were in the top right. We did a 505 beatmaking stream where I talk about the details of the loopers. Here's how I made the bass line. Here's how I made that other sound. Here's how I made the kick drum. In the bottom right, we got tinkering in the studio. That's the one where we go off on all sorts of other tangents, like what we talked about today. Extra dimensional reality and like social dimensions of the need to become a sun as you ascend from within a desert. That's for tinkering in the studio. We also bring in the synthesizer, the Hydrosynth, in tinkering in the studio. Man, it's a good time. In the lower left, we got Unspoken, which is just like tinkering in the studio. We got the loopers, we got the Hydrosynth, but no talking at all in the lower left in Unspoken. The upper left, that's where it looks like a show. It looks like I'm putting on a show of 4 or 5 different beats that I wrote and I'm just performing for you. But the truth is I'm improvising all of it. I make up the beat on the spot, I make up the arrangement on the spot. It's a really good time over in Loops and Chill. Whatever type of stream it is when I see you next, I am looking forward to seeing you then. And until then, please have a very good rest of your day today. Please let the rest of your day today bring you all manner of blessing. Please allow yourself to receive the blessing that comes to you today. Please open up. Allow yourself to be in a receptive state toward all of the goodness and blessing that is available immediately to you, were you but to receive it. Please let the rest of your day today bring you healing, the likes of which should be impossible, but yet it's happening to you. You're receiving that healing that really shouldn't be possible, but you had it. You had that healing. Please have a restful remainder of your day. Please feel rejuvenated. Please relax. Please get a good sleep. Please step closer to the best possible version of yourself today. And I will see you in the next Reconsider It live stream.